Hi everybody, it's Katie Albert Astro here, and this morning's tutorial I thought I would do Deep Sky Stacker, just to show people out there that have mono cameras with, their channels, HA, sulfur, oxygen, how to stack your channels and get the best out of your data to start processing it. Now, most people that shoot in one-shot color would just drag and drop or open in their files, their data, and just put it straight over and add their darks, all of their calibration files. I don't have any calibration files. I shoot with a 2600 mono with Optolong filters, and when I started shooting mono I wasn't sure how do I get all the channels together in Deep Sky Stacker, and I tried to do it the same way as I would with one shot and that didn't work, so I had to learn the lesson the hard way. Anyway, for everyone that uses PixInsight, a lot of us go into WBPP and we let that do the stacking process. I still use Deep Sky Stacker every now and again because it's faster. It doesn't take as much time as WBPP. So for those that don't use that part of PixInsight, you can do it this way. So what you do is you go into your files where your data is. So click Open Files. Now, this is the USB stick that's plugged in directly to my PC. And this is the data that I have on the California Nebula. Now, what I want to do is bring in the data from last week that I shot, and we'll work on that because it was done with different cameras, different setup rigs, different time, the integration times. So let's just stick with the simple part of it. So I'm going to put in the date, which was the 7th of February, and I don't want it dragging in all the files from January and things like that. And as you can see, here's all that data that was done on that date. And I'm going to just click Show Me Hydrogen Alpha. So there's all the HA files, not many, as you can see, but it's just to give you an idea how to do this for those that don't know. So I'm going to click on the top and Control A on my PC to highlight them all, and I'm going to bring them in. So as you can see, it's brought in the JPEG files, so I'm going to highlight and remove them and remove from list. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do the 8th, 07, oh sorry, 08, 02, 2024, and do the same thing again because I shot this overnight, so there's data from after midnight, and HA again, and I'm going to, actually I don't want to drag in these JPEGs, so bear with me here. I'm just going to take the actual raw data and bring that in. So I'm just highlighting those and not the JPEGs. You can actually go in and just delete all the JPEGs. But as I say, this is the raw data from the actual USB stick and I haven't taken anything out. So it's going to take 2 seconds So there we go. Here is all the HA from the 7th and the 8th of February. That is the hydrogen alpha. I now want to stack the O3. So I'm going to click on group 1 and I'm going to go back up to open pictures, and I'm going to do the same as what I did there, and it's 07, 02, 2024. Now I could actually just go in and drag everything over. It's just laziness with me. So I'm going to put in here 03. Oh God, here we go. Sorry about that, folks. Right, so I didn't get any 03 earlier in the evening, so it must be just after midnight, which it is. So here we go again. I should have deleted all the JPEGs, but I didn't. So this is just going to take a little bit more time than normal, and I could have deleted them all earlier, but hey, this is this is happening as you're seeing it as it's actually being done. Excuse me. So here is all our O3, and next I'm going to go into group 2 and click on that, and I'm going to bring in the S2 files. So you need 3 separate tabs for 3 separate blocks of data. Same thing again, folks. 08, 02, 2024 and S2. And here is our S2. And we will just highlight and bring that data over. Making sure I don't drag in any JPEGs. I don't want the JPEGs. They just screw all the data up. And there we go. There is our S2. Now, as you can see, it's not a lot of data. It's actually very little, in fact. So there's our hydrogen alpha in the main group. Next tab over is our O3, and the next tab after that is our S2. And because I've already run this before, it's already done the calculations. Some of the data is great, some not so great. So it's up to yourself. I prefer to delete all the crappy files. You know, there's no point in putting rubbish files in. If you do, it's just going to ruin the good files that you've got. So next, what I would do is I would go up to check all and check all the tabs, make sure they're all checked. Okay, once that's done, you want to register the images. So you bring up register checked, you know, register your images. Now, this is the part where I check to see how many stars are in the image, or in the data, actually not in the image, in the data. So into the advanced, and you compute. It runs through every single bit of raw data there. It tells me how many stars there are. 127. That's fabulous. I'm going to, normally this is at 20%. When I shot this data, the conditions weren't fantastic in the night sky, let's put it that way. So I've taken that percentage all the way down because I want, you know, I want it to see stars. Right, I'm going to go with the 51. So then I click OK. It starts registering every image, and it doesn't take too long. It really doesn't. As you see, I've got 38 frames. The hydrogen alpha ones usually are the best ones. They're the strongest. But let's just see what we've got here, what we can play with. Now, as I say, it doesn't really take long. if you're using WBPP, it would take a lot longer, an awful lot longer. Let me just see what else is going on here. And as I say, it's simple, it's effective, and it was the first stacking software I was ever introduced to. I watched Astro Backyard many years ago process these images and stack them, and it was Trevor who was using Deep Sky Stacker, and it was data from my DSLR, you know, so I didn't have separate channels, I didn't need to do any of that. It wasn't until I went mono that I realised there's a lot of work goes into getting black and white mono images and having to use your filters obviously to get all that data in colour and then putting it all together to produce one image. In Scotland the weather's not fantastic all the time, so a lot of people don't like doing mono. They would prefer to do one shot colour as it is quicker and they get all the data in one image right there and then. I like a challenge, so I like the mono. I like playing around with the data just to see what I can get. I don't have 20-30 hours on certain images. There's just no way I would be able to accumulate that, or if I did, it would be one target a year I would get. So I work with what I have. Right, so here we have all our images registered, and on the here is your score of how good that data is. Okay, and I go through each tab just to check the numbers. Now, a lot of people will be like, I don't understand what they mean. I don't myself, to be honest. I just know that certain numbers, the higher the number, the better the image is going to be, the better the data is and the information that you've got. So, as I say, the hydrogen alpha images seem to obviously be the strongest. And let us see, we've got the highest one here, might be, oh, there's a good one there, 484. So let's just see, I'm going to drag this up. I can see the California Nebula there. Now I could go through each of the channels here. Let me just check. 920. Yeah, I can see the stars. So that's also good. But I'm going to stick with the hydrogen alpha one. Okay, so I'm going to uncheck these images at the moment, and I'm going to go down to that 484 one. And if I right click on my mouse, I'm going to use that as my reference frame. You must, if you're doing mono, you must have a reference frame. And what that does is it takes all the other tabs, all the other groups of data when you're stacking them, and it puts them all together and crops it and makes sure everything fits in to that one image. Okay, so here we are. I've highlighted my reference frame that I want all the other groups to measure to. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the top one, and then I'm going to go Control A, and I'm going to right click the mouse and check those images. Okay, as you can see, they're all highlighted and they're all checked. If I get into these tabs, these ones aren't. And that's exactly what you want. You don't want to be touching these two just now, just the hydrogen alpha ones. So once they're all checked, what you would do is go up and say, stack those images. Now, here you go. There, I have got 20 minutes there, and I have got 14 frames here of 42 minutes and 20 minutes. That gives me 1 hour and 2 minutes of hydrogen alpha data. Not a lot, but we work with what we've got. So now I'm going to go, okay, stack those. And it's stacking one of 18 images. As I say, it's not a lot of data, folks. If you've got more, fantastic. I don't. So I'm going to just work with what I have. And as I said before, it really doesn't take long. It goes through it pretty quickly. And once it's got all that data, it will show a final image, as you know, for those that use Deep Sky Stacker. And here we are, almost at the end already. Okay, and last one. And it should be coming up. There we go. It's computing the final image. Come on. There we are. Now, there is my final HA image. I'm not going to touch anything here at all. I'm going to do everything in PixInsight. So the only thing left to do is I go into save the picture. So save picture to file. Find where you want to save your data and what you want to call it. And I'm going to call it Kali Neb HA 7th Feb. Okay, you can call it whatever you want, just as long as you remember where you've put it. But because I've done this one before, I've used many names, I'm just sticking with this. That was the night it was captured. So that's that saved. Now, there isn't a back button that you can click to get back to where you were on Deep Sky Stacker. Or if there is, I've never found it. But in order to get back, what I do is I click uncheck all. It takes me back to this area here. And as I say, everything's unchecked. You do not want to have your HA checked again. You want to go to your next group, which is your O3. And same thing again, click on the top, Control A and highlight everything. Right click your mouse and click the check box. These must all be checked and ticked, just that one. Now, if we go back here, you can see I still have my reference frame, and all this data will be measured against that reference frame so that everything fits together. So now that I've highlighted and checked all of my O3, same thing again, folks. Just go straight into stacking procedure. I have 30 minutes of data. That is it, 30 minutes. I don't have an hour or anything. As I say, conditions weren't great, weather wasn't fantastic, but I'm going to see what I can use. And I'll keep adding to this as, you know, any good clear nights come in. I can add more data to it and restack it and use that. That's what you do. You just keep adding extra data until you're happy with the outcome of what you have. And I think it was the same for the S2. I think I've only got 30 minutes on that as well. So here we go. That's that computing. As I say, not a lot of info, so it's very quick. It's going through it very quickly. if you were doing this in WBPP, it would still be registering. It does take quite some time. And if you've got time where you want to do that, do it. Right, so same thing again. I'm going to go down to Save Picture to File. And I'm going to call this Callie Neb. And I'm going to go 03 7th February. I know some of the data was done on the 8th, but this is just to save the files. So that's that data saved. So up again, uncheck all, that takes me back, and I go into my S2. Same thing again, folks, just repeat. So click on the first file, Control A to highlight all of the data, right click the mouse and press the check box. Once they're checked, everything's there, stack the image. Once again, as I said, 30 minutes of data is all I've got there. So that's working out at 2 hours, 2 minutes, no, yeah, 2 hours, 2 minutes of data. Not a lot. But, as I say, we work with what we have. And that is going in quickly again. And there's the final one coming up. Now, if you had darks and any other calibration files, you would be able to add them as well into tabs and do that. But as I say, I don't have any calibration files, which is pretty bad on my side of things. So I'm going to save. Once that green line has finished, there we go, that's all that data there. I'm going to go into save again, and it's Callie Neb, and this is the S2 7th Feb. Okay, and go ahead and start processing your information. So next video is me bringing that data in and showing you how to process. Okay.